If you stick around to the very end, we're going to give you details on a really big giveaway that you'll be one of the first people to hear about it.
We immediately got back to the pits and we're like, okay, what do we got to do to make this not happen again? Because we hate losing. I honestly, like when we raced it, I almost never touched the tune-up in the 60-foot. It didn't matter if it was first round or the finals. So if it's in eliminations, if I burn it up, I don't care. You know what I mean? We're there to win. Don't build a race car engine that is unique and you just keep chipping away at it and you just keep testing it and you keep making laps. Tell us what kind of wheels you guys want to see on Charlie Brown.
You can tell us, but I actually already ordered them. Why the heck did we cut our race car apart, Brad?
I don't know. I'll say I still kind of regret it. Well, technically, I didn't cut anything. Jaybird pretty much cut it all.
I cut a little bit, but yeah, it's mostly been Jaybird.
Yeah, I still regret it, but I don't know.
Too late now.
Yeah, no going back. That's usually how it happens. I was like, I'm like, this is a bad idea, and then Jason starts cutting stuff, and it's like, oh man, and now we're down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Well, we had normally the way if you could say that Brad and I have business meetings, normally the way our business meetings work is when we're driving down the road, because we spend a lot of time together, but we actually don't really see each other much, which probably doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, during the day, like at work, like we walk past each other, but we really don't talk like all day long because he's busy talking to customers and stuff on the phone. I'm busy back there running CNC machines and this and that, and so ordering materials and everything with that. So it's like, yeah, during the day, we don't talk about racing at all. We really don't talk at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but yeah, what Jason's leading to is that this was basically decided on the way back from PRI. So, but to back up even farther, we had a conversation about this way, way back when we were at Outlaw Armageddon.
Yeah.
So after we lost first round to John Doe,
Scott Taylor.
Yeah, Scott Taylor and John Doe. We immediately got back to the pits and we're like, okay, what do we got to do to make this not happen again? Because we hate losing, especially first round. When you're a first round duck, that is the worst. The absolute worst. You know what I mean?
Like that far,
you lose in the finals, you're like, you know what I mean? Like we barely lost. But when you lose first round, you're like, we really suck.
Well, we hadn't really lost first round, and we hadn't really lost first round in a while.
Yeah, a long time. And we just happened to draw one of the faster cars there first round.
Well, that's why it hurts
rough.
so bad.
Yeah.
It's like
and on his home track.
You're used to like our whole thing is you go.
Well, I guess that's not his home track, but he's raced there before. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a humbling experience when you get knocked.
Yeah. So yeah, he beat us by like a car, and we instantly got back to the trailer, and we're like, we're cutting the whole thing apart, building a whole new chassis. We're going to lose 800 pounds. And then, this and that. We're like scheming all these ways that we're going to make Charlie way faster. So anyways, we're like, okay, well, we're definitely not doing this during racing season. So,
and we had just moved into this building. You're trying to get them. So the other thing I think that people don't see a lot is you don't get the whole scope of this, right? Like it's not like we can't really shut the business down to.
There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot going on every day. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
So when I say I'm running around with my head cut off, like I literally mean it. Yeah. So, but yeah, so then circle back to the end of the year, we picked that conversation back up, and on the ride home from PRI, we talked for an hour or two, like just about how are we going to get Charlie lighter? We went through all the scenarios, build a new car, build a new chassis, do we just cut the middle out of it? Do we do the middle and the front? We weighed all of our options, and somehow we came to, the simplest, easiest way to, not easiest because it's definitely not easy, cutting the middle of the car, like do the back of the car or the front of the car is a big job, but to cut the middle of the car out, that's like a huge job because everything's connected to it. So, but we're like, we had already, the first year before we finished the car, or when we got the car to finish it, we did the back of the car. We back halved it. And then last winter, we kind of front halved it halfway. We redid the front end. So we felt like the middle of the car was the only spot that we really hadn't like touched. So, and we knew that the factory frame rail that was left in there and stuff was like the biggest chunk of weight that we would be able to get out of the car. So we're like, really, there's no other option but cutting it all out to get that factory frame rail and all that factory sheet metal out. And then we're like, if we do that and put the fiberglass doors on the car, we can probably get 300 pounds or so out of the car. So, yeah, I mean, that would take us from 3,100 down to 2,800. So, you know, that's a pretty substantial gain. Most people don't realize, but 200 pounds out of a race car is a tenth in the eighth mile. So just taking 300 pounds out of the car and doing nothing else, not same exact tune-up, it'll pick up roughly a tenth and a half.
Yeah, and we've done that.
Like, yeah, we've done it. So, like when we used to race our white car in limited 235, like when we raced, we would have to be 3,300 pounds, and then we would have 400 pounds in the car. So then when we would race locally, we'd take 400 pounds out and race it at 2,900 pounds. And we actually did it. We left the car exactly in limited 235 trim, made a pass, went back to the pits, pulled 400 pounds out, made another pass, and it picked up almost dead on 2/10 in the eighth. So it went from a 520 to a 5.0. So
I think it went 496.
Well,
you changed the tune up a bit. Yeah.
No. We went 494 later that day.
Yeah.
But the first hit we made, it went like 500.
Yeah.
And then the next pass, it went like 494 after I turned it up. But it went like 520, and I think it actually went a 522 and then a 500.
Yeah.
So it picked up a fuzz over 2/10 by taking 400 pounds out. So.
Yeah. And weight too, man. Like it makes them just so much easier to get off the starting line. Like there's a lot that goes into it.
Oh yeah. Talking about that same pass, it went from like a 121 60 foot to like a 117.
Yeah.
So picked up like 4 numbers in the 60 foot, just taking 400 pounds out of it.
Yeah, with no tune-up change.
Yeah, with 0 changes to the tune. So, that just shows you how much weight matters, especially to a nitrous car, because a turbo car or a blower car, you can just either turn it up more, add more boost, or if you max out the turbo or the blower, you just buy a bigger turbo or a bigger blower. They're pretty easy to make more horsepower. Whereas a nitrous car, they're not easy to make. They're the most difficult way to heads up race for sure. Because you want more horsepower, you're going to your engine guy I need more horsepower. Take my money. Bigger motor, better flowing heads. It all costs money.
Yeah, nitrous racers definitely would how Tony Bischoff has a promo. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I guess the only thing harder would be trying to race an NA car heads up, but literally there's 2 people that do that, and
unless it's a whole NA class.
Yeah.
But and the back of the car was already nice, and a lot of times in the comments they'll ask why is it all tin, and really we just did it like that because we need the car to scale a certain way for no prep, and that's primarily what we race with it. So it didn't make sense to spend all this money on carbon fiber when we needed rear percentage anyway.
Yeah, so we kind of built the car the car, it was built to be a no prep car, so we didn't focus on taking any weight out of the rear. We just focused on trying to get the front end light, and it's still got the factory rear bumper, the factory trunk lid, all that stuff on it, because we're no sense in putting a fiberglass rear bumper on it and then hanging 200 pounds back there. It doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
So,
yeah, it works out good. And we are gonna run. I think we're gonna run it more on radio, not more on radials, but we're gonna run it on radials more than we have.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, we'll probably run it on radials once or twice this year, but obviously our main focus is always going to be on, on the slicks, on front side no prep. That's what we built the car for. That's what the car fits best in. So
yeah. Well, on we've went back and forth on the firewall and the struts a couple times. If we were going to do that, and the problem a lot with that is if we do decide to race other stuff, it's nice to have the firewall in it and the factory front suspension. And you've already, I'm not going to go into what all you did, but you did a lot to make the front suspension work really great now.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time on it last year. So the front suspension is dialed. So yeah, so I'm not really going to mess with it, and I don't really feel like remounting the motor and all that. So it's already January and we're not even going forwards. We're still going backwards. So we don't have a whole lot of time. So we really don't have time right now to do firewall, struts, remount the motor, all that. So we're probably just going to leave the front end alone, just focus on the middle of the car. But, Charlie may have struts on it and an aftermarket firewall someday, but right now we're not real worried about
Today's not that day.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what you like, when you're thinking about updating a race car, like you're like, oh, well, you're just moving the motor back. Okay. Well, you're redoing the firewall. Now that drive shaft doesn't work. We got to buy another drive shaft. The headers that we just built aren't going to work because the motor's in a different location.
Yeah.
The front end is all mounted with all that. Now you're remounting all that. You're remounting the radiator, the water pump, like.
I'm not really remounting all that stuff, but you're gonna have to replumb it. You're gonna have to make all your hoses longer, and
it's a lot of work.
But a lot of work. You're changing a lot. So yeah, that and the way the firewall is in that thing, like it comes pretty straight down from the windshield. So you wouldn't be able to move it back super far unless you did like a big pocket, to shove the motor back into. And I really hate the way that looks, and it makes them hard to work on.
Yeah, you can't get, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not really a big fan of that. So you wouldn't be able to move it back a whole lot without doing something weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not real worried about it. The thing worked great. I'd say it's 60, even with the motor in stock location, the thing's 60 foot's awesome. So, I mean, I can't tell you how many times. We've probably been 116, 60 foot on front side no prep 15 or 20 times.
Yeah, it's not like a one-hit
thing
wonder.
Go like 116 like a bracket car.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I honestly, like when we raced it, I almost never touched the tune-up in the 60 foot. It didn't matter if it was first round or the finals. It was like I literally didn't touch it in the 60 foot. I would just concentrate on power from like the 60 to the 330, depending on how what the track conditions were, how mean I could get after it out there. But normally in the 60 foot, I just left it alone.
I really liked watching you play with the lockup this year. I feel like that was fun.
Yeah, it was definitely a learning curve. I don't know. I'm not in love with it. I don't know. It's like, yeah, there's a little bit of ET to gain there, but there's a lot going on when you're turning it on and off and then back on, and then you have it on a timer, and then if you pedal the car, I turn it off, it resets the timer, and then it doesn't lock back up. It's like, so it's almost like having like a fourth nitrous kit. The lockup is, and it's like when you have 3 nitrous kits and a lockup, it's like I got 4 timers going on, all individually of each other, plus plus the shift, and it's like there's so much going on that's time based, and have all these conditions that they have to meet, and if you pedal it, it throws all these timers off, so then now everything for the rest of the pass is all screwed up, and it's like. There's just a lot going on, compared to like when you used to race a turbo car, it was like you literally had a boost versus timetable and then one shift. And it's like, it's so simple. Now it's like there's so much going on. I got going on in the background.
When all the safeties and stuff, I think that's, you do, man, you're so good at that. Like we when we first got out, I mean, we struggled with the pedaling a little bit, and you kind of fix that.
I'm not really gonna go too far into that.
I don't want you to. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just there's a lot of things that you have to think about, like on a nitrous car. So like when you pedal it, you turn the nitrous off, so the nitrous is activated off the throttle position sensor because it's EFI. So like I have the nitrous coming on at like 75% throttle or 80% throttle, and so like when he pedals it and he gets under 80% throttle, it turns the nitrous off. But just because you turn the solenoids off doesn't mean that the nitrous goes away. So you still have nitrous in the fogger lines, in the intake manifold, and it takes about a half of a second for the engine to consume all of that nitrous and empty all the lines and empty the intake. So you can't just shove all the timing back in it and pull all the fuel back out and run it like it's NA. You have to like taper it out. Well, then he gets back on the throttle again. Well, then you have to taper it back in. So it's like trying to keep the air fuel and the timing happy on that pedal on a nitrous car it's not difficult, but it's something you got to watch.
I mean, it sounds a lot more difficult than my job. I just do.
Yeah. Well, you got to be on it because, if you miss it and you have too much timing in that thing too quickly, or you have, if it goes lean or rich, you could tear the motor up or blow the intake off of it. So, stuff like that, you definitely have to watch a lot more on a nitrous car, whereas a turbo or blower car is like, what safeties? You know what I mean? It's like our turbo car, we never ran any safeties. I always think it's hilarious when people lose a race because of a boost safety. I'm like, why? Why do you have a boost safety on in eliminations? I'm like, literally, I'm like trying to man, the turbo's almost maxed out. Like, it's crazy how much CO2 that we'll put on top of the, like Brad Arnold's, the little 5.3. Dude, to get that thing to make 50 pounds of boost, I have to run like 90 pounds of CO2 on top of the wastegate. And it's like, dude, we just keep we keep turning the regulator up. Like, it won't make any more boost. Turn the CO2 regulator up. And it's like, we just keep cramming CO2 on top of it because little motor, big turbo, doesn't want to make any boost. And it's like people go out there and they're like, oh, I made a boost. I lost because I had my boost safety set at 35 pounds. You're like, why? I
don't understand.
Turn that shit off.
Yeah, we will totally melt something down in eliminations.
Exactly. If it's in eliminations, if I burn it up, I don't care. We're there to win.
that turkey bash, when the thing was eating itself, I could see the sparks coming out, but I also knew we were ahead.
Oh no, I never expected you to lift. I was just like, man, why did it do that? And then I was like, I really hope it was just a spark plug. It wasn't, but
once it started backfiring out of the top of the intake, I was like, I should probably quit.
No, I was like, ooh, that's a little bit of spark. Oh, that's a lot of sparks. I was like, yeah, that's not good. I was like, that looks like piston.
Yeah, you can't race like in fear of tearing it up.
Yeah.
Like, just that's part of it.
Yeah.
Just gotta be willing to, whatever happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when people say that they're willing to drag the crank across the finish line, it's like, if you want to be competitive in heads up racing, you got to be willing to do that, especially in the finals.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to be willing to drag, blow that thing up to get it done. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
That's the will to win, man.
Oh yeah.
It's just the will to win is it's a bad and a good thing.
Yeah. It goes back to the old saying that the fastest way to become a billionaire or fastest way to become a millionaire drag racing is to start a billionaire.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah. You got a comment on that, Rick?
Yeah. It's like we're here to win money, but realistically, if we can break even, we're doing really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's very few people that make money drag racing.
They don't have a nitrous car.
No.
Yeah. We did really good with our turbo car, but the nitrous car, not so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, currently, I mean, Jaybird's out there. I mean, he's been cutting on it for a week, and Jay's so good at if you give him we're like, Jay, make this as light as possible. He finds everything. I mean, he just cut some more weight out that most people wouldn't have seen, and it was another couple pounds. So,
Yeah, I just told, well, actually, he wasn't going to cut some of that stuff off, and I'm like, get it out of there. But,
we're this far.
We're here. Get it out of there. But no, there's like on customer cars and stuff, a lot of times we'll go and like remove, like drill all the spot welds out or grind them off and like take all the double layered sheet metal off. You can really, really get one light, and like the inside of the body looks really, really nice. But I told him, I'm like, dude, it takes so much extra time to go that extra 10% to make a really, really nice product. And so I was like, just grind it down till it's smooth, and them little double layered pinch weld pieces, just leave them.
Yeah.
So it sucks, but it's like we just don't have time for this.
No, we're trying to get racing. In
our cars are never as nice as our customer cars, ever. You know, they're always like, hurry up and get it done, throw it together, that'll work, shove it in the trailer.
Yeah,
you know?
we're going racing.
Yeah. You know, it's not like a customer car where we really were like, we want to make the nicest product for you. You know, we want this thing to be a show car.
Yeah,
our cars are just never like that.
Well, and then
they just don't have what's. It's a different when you're getting paid to work on somebody's car, or when it's costing you money to work on this car. You're like, just get it done. Yeah, it's costing me money.
Yeah, get it done as fast as possible.
Yeah, right.
Well, and you're like, that's one of the things that I really like about racing Charlie is, you know, because obviously we help a lot of customer cars that are really nice, and gosh, they're a pain to work on because you're scared to death that you're gonna hurt, like scratch or something. That Charlie's freaking awesome because it's just doesn't matter. Like, if we put another dent in the door, it's got another dent in the door. Yeah,
those are the best kinds of race cars that don't have nice paint, because they're like, you scratch it, whatever, you're like, whatever.
Yeah,
it's a tool.
Yeah. Well, and like not even. I love that the chassis is not painted. Like after having it like that, I really like that.
Yeah, it's a little bit to keep up on. You know, I like them just spray painted. You know, so it's hard to beat some satin black. Easy to touch up, easy to keep up with. You know, you're like, I need a tab there, no problem. You know.
Yeah, the powder coated stuff.
The powder coated chassis are awful. They're awful. I don't recommend anybody to powder coat a chassis.
So many people,
unless you never plan on racing.
Yeah, if you just really like looking at it, and you're like, man, this thing's nice, perfect, powder coat it. But if you're actually out there,
if you're gonna race it, paint it.
Yeah,
or don't paint it. WD-40 it.
Yeah, the WD-40s work great for us. It's I had like with Charlie, we'll be, because like I said, we're gonna try to be done by the end of February. We'll still be welding on that thing, and we'll be putting it together. And under normal circumstances, you can't do that because you're trying to paint. And you're doing all. It has to be in so many stages.
Right.
That thing's just like that. Whatever, it works out awesome.
Yeah. It's like a series of updates and just one stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
So.
And as you
That's
watch,
another reason why we never painted it, because we knew we were going to add more stuff. So.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Well, and as you guys watch like the build series video, I think so this is dropped Tuesday. Rick should have another build series on Thursday for you. He's going to try to drop one a week on Thursday, right, Rick? Is that what we're doing? So because we're actually being pretty good about filming ahead of time and planning a little bit more, which is awesome. But Ricky's trying to lay them out to where you learn something each time, and it's kind of makes sense to what we're working on. And that's probably going to work for the first few. And then you're going to get down to like the last videos, and it's going to be more of a cluster of like, this is all happening at once just because the car has, we're trying to get the car done. And I talked to Bischoff today. He said that he should have the motor finished back up by the end of the month, which would be sweet.
That's good. Yeah. More advice for you people. Don't build a race car engine that is unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful. Because you can't get parts for it.
Yeah, this motor,
build something that is easy to get parts for, that people have parts sitting on the shelf for.
No, that really, we're actually pretty happy with the motor, right? Like it performed well, other than what happened to it. But
I mean, we were planning to take it up to Tony and get it freshened over the winter. It just happened like
a little faster,
a month or two before we wanted to freshen it. So,
but I think that'd be not necessarily in the nitrous, but the end of that 5-inch combo. I think for us will probably be just because it's such a pain to get parts for. It's like,
yeah. Well, I mean, you can keep it going. It's just like the sleeves he had to custom order, the valves he had to custom order. It's like it's not stuff that people still have sitting on the shelf because the 5-inch motors were, I don't even know,
15 years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say late 90s, early 2000s, probably.
Yeah.
You know, and then they went to the 5.2 bore space, and now they're all the 5.3 bore space. So, you know, you could probably find parts for a 5.3 bore space motor because it's all new.
It's easy to get.
You know, modern stuff. They're running them in Top Sportsman and Pro Mod and MPK and all that. But like the 5-inch bore space is all just leftover Top Sportsman stuff from 20 years ago. So, you know, it's all like everything's old. Nobody has new parts sitting on the shelf. So it's all, you know, you can still get parts for it. It's just they're custom, so you have to wait a couple months. So if if we break this thing beginning a racing season, we're screwed.
Yeah, we're going to be buying another motor.
Or we're going to be out most of the season just waiting on parts. So that's the crappy part. Whereas, you know, if you got something that's modern that they still stock parts for, it's like, you know, like say if you're running a Musi 959, you know, you break it and you call up Musi, hey, I need a cylinder head. Okay, I'll send you one tomorrow. You know?
Yeah.
Or if you're running an LS, just go to the junkyard and get another one.
Yeah. Or you pull it off the truck you're driving.
Or that.
Yeah. That's when I talked to Tony, he's supposed to be getting a price for one of his 959s for us. I'm really scared of what that price is going to be. But it would not only the power, but it would be really nice to be able to get the parts, you know, like what we're saying. It's just
it's still a 959 is still way more exotic than most people's stuff.
Yeah.
You know, if you're running just a standard 484 big block Chevy, super easy to get parts for. If you're running an LS, super easy to get parts for, you know.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, you know.
I was listening to that.
If you're trying to be exotic,
it's never good.
You're not going to get parts easy.
Even if it's an exotic LS, it's exotic whatever. It's
exactly.
It doesn't matter. It's hard to get stuff for. That's what I was listening to. Ryan Mitchell was on Billy and Tommy's podcast, and that was one of the reasons he was talking about his, you know, he's got a 484 big block Chevy, and he's like, that's one of the reasons he loves it. It's because he can, Summit has
most of the stuff he needs.
If you need it, it's in stock. You know, it may not. You know, it may not be as good as something you're taking off of it, right? But you can at least get it back on and racing pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, like even our motor, like I tried to order valve cover gaskets for it, and like I could not find the correct valve cover gaskets. Like I tried 2 different kinds, and the one didn't fit at all, and the one fit but has like 2 extra bolt holes, and I'm like, these still aren't the right gaskets. But they fit, you know. So I'm like, I don't even know what valve cover gaskets are supposed to be on that thing. But
even the stupid valve covers, like Tony ordered
valve covers and they didn't fit.
Yeah, they were for a 5-inch motor, but then there was like a little asterisk depending on what cylinder head it was and how the valves were. Yeah, and you're like,
so the rocker arms hit the 2 of the bungs for the bolt holes, and it was like, well, that doesn't work.
Yeah, so you got like a $800 set of valve covers that
don't work. Yeah,
they were on it at PRI. It looked great with them on it. It looked really nice.
Yeah, because it didn't have any rocker arms on it.
I don't know. It's been fun racing a nitrous combo though. I liked it a lot more than I thought that I would.
Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. I was a little, I won't say intimidated, but I was a little apprehensive going into when we first started because I tuned some like nitrous streetcar stuff, you know, like a Corvette with a 150 shot or something, you know, basic stuff. But I'd never tuned like a nitrous EFI race car where you're actually like spraying it really hard. And so I was like, you know, what's this going to be like? And, you know, are we going to be tearing this thing up all the time? And it's super easy. The EFI and the nitrous is awesome. You know, obviously it's a lot more involved than a turbo car, but it's not hard. It's honestly, it's really easy, and it's really awesome. And I've enjoyed just learning something new. And, you know, anytime you tune something that you're not used to, like if all you've ever messed with is turbo cars, and you go and you work on a blower car or a nitrous car or whatever, like you always learn something, and then you can go back and apply that to your own car. You know what I mean? So like even just racing a nitrous car, if we went back to racing a turbo car, I feel like I would be a better turbo car tuner because of my experience tuning this nitrous car, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just you just learn so much anytime you take on something new.
Yeah.
So
Well, and when we talked about blowers, I think that was, you know, that's still like, that might be a combo that I don't know if we'll put in Charlie. I mean, if we hurt this motor and we can't get parts, well, then yeah, maybe. But we were both excited just to, like, well, we never had a blower car.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds cool.
Yeah. After messing with Tony's Kenny's car, I'm like, I really like the blower stuff.
Yeah,
really like
it's
it. Yeah,
sweet.
It is really cool. Like they're like they make instant power like a nitrous car, similar to a nitrous car, but then they make the big power up top because of the boost like a turbo car. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. I'm like, ooh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they look sweet.
yeah.
I like a screw blower. I think
Screw blowers are so sick, but
they're so expensive.
so expensive. And the belts, even the belts are expensive.
Yeah,
and they
you gotta
replace
keep a
them
bunch
like
of 'em.
pretty often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No, if we did it, it would definitely be Pro Charger. We definitely can't afford a screw blower. Yeah, that's way out of our price range. So.
Oh, I didn't know how much they were until like we kind
Oh yeah, like used ones are going for like 30, 35,000. I'm like, oh my gosh, just for the blower. I still need an engine to put it on.
yeah. I'm to blow on this thing just to turn it.
I'm like, yeah, we can't afford that.
Oh.
We're over here with a $35,000 nitrous motor. You know what I mean? So, and we're like, that's expensive.
It is.
You know?
Yeah, racing really jacks with you, like your perception of what things cost.
Oh, it really screws up your perception of money, because then when you go back to real life, you're like, oh, this is nothing. You know, you're like, what? That doesn't matter. Like,
I know my wife.
Change.
My wife yells at me all the time because it's like, you get like you have a perception within business and with racing. It's just a different perception.
Yeah.
And then, like you're saying, you go back to real life or just family life, you're like, money works way different here.
Yeah. It really screws you too, because when your wife like wants to spend money on something, you're like, I want to say no really bad, but I can't because she knows how much money I spend on over here. So I have zero ground to stand on. Yeah.
All right, guys, we got a quick break in the action to let you know that today's episode is sponsored by Mincer Motorsports, which we are the #1 dealer in the world of Mincer Motorsports products. So you can check them out on our website, just www.tinsoldierracecars.com. You can go see all the different options that they have. They got long travel stuff, obviously everything that they offer in the rear. They make their own springs, which is really cool. So if you need a specific spring rate, they have all that stuff available for you. And obviously, you've seen how well Charlie Brown works. Mincer Motorsports on all four corners of him. So if you want to make your car work like Charlie, Mincer Motorsports is definitely a key ingredient to that. So let's get back to the episode. Thanks for watching. All right, so we got all the weight we're cutting out of it. We're working on the middle of the chassis. Strange is sending us some of their. We already had a set of Evolution front brakes, but we're gonna do spindle mount brakes. So in one of the build series, we're gonna weigh the difference of the two, which will be exciting. You kind of see the differences. So we're gonna lose some more weight there. I talked to TRZ. I think we might do some of their billet drop spindles. Mike's pretty persistent that he'd like to have a set on it.
Jason wants to put spindle mount wheels on it, so Charlie's getting new wheels.
Yeah.
So tell us what kind of wheels you guys want to see on Charlie Brown. You know,
you can tell us, but I actually already ordered them.
What style? What color?
Yeah. Well, for me, and you guys probably picked up on this a long time ago. I'm definitely more of the visual one. Brad's more of like how it works, and like
I could care less what that thing looks like.
he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And I like we're doing all this work to it, and we have some other new parts coming. I don't want to because it is going to change the way it looks a bit, not a lot, but a little bit. I'm like, when you do all this work, I want it to roll out and actually look different. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I think that doesn't really matter to Brad, but
They'll be subtle though.
yeah, it'll be subtle differences.
Yeah.
Just to kind of, I think you guys are really going to like the way it looks. It's going to look really cool.
No, it'll be like updated.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, as updated as a 79 four-door car can look.
Yeah.
That's what, anytime we're like looking at that thing, it's like, probably like 1% of the world like really thinks that thing's cool. Like if you brought an average person in here and like, yeah, look at this thing, they're like, that's the dumbest thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, the brown 79 four-door. Yep.
But so we're doing that, and then we're working with Lonnie to kind of change up the midsection of the car a bit.
Oh, on the transmission. Yeah, I've been wanting to try a 3-speed just with the lockup, because with the 2-speed and the lockup, the shift drop is a lot more than I would like it to be. So we're just going to try something. We're going to try putting a 3-speed in it and see how that works. See if I can leave it locked on the shift. We tried that last year. The 2-speed, it dropped way too much RPM on the shift. So I don't know. I still might not be able to leave it locked, but whatever. We're going to try the 3-speed, see if it's worth anything. You know, on paper, it's worth a couple numbers to the 330, but, you know, see, is it usable? So we'll find out.
We always worried about shifting it too much on no prep was our thing. We liked just the one shift, but
yeah, I pretty much got a handle on the shifting though. I think we'll be all right. You know, it's just there's a lot going on. If I can't keep the converter locked on the shift, then you're going to be locked, unlock, shift, lock, unlock, shift, lock. You know, across the finish line. So it's like even more going on than what we were talking about earlier. So we'll see. I might hate it, but
yeah,
you know, you don't know till you try. You know, that's one thing we really learned in radio racing. You know, class racing is when you're limited to a set of rules that everybody's the same weight, or your combo has minimum weight, and you know, everybody's running the same size turbo, the same size tire, you know, all this and that. There's nowhere to pick up ET. So you really start looking into like gear ratio in the rear end, gear ratios in the trans, the converter, you know, all these little things to try to pick up 2 numbers here and 3 numbers here. And that's why, you know, the class cars, that's how you can take like an ultra street car, you know, ultra street cars are running in the 440s now, but like most people probably don't remember this, but we went 458 with the Bad Penny with our stock block LS, stock crank, little 330 cubic inch motor with a single 76 millimeter turbo on it, on leaf springs, on a 275 ET Street R at almost, I think it was 2950 was our minimum weight. So we were racing at like 2970. So almost 3,000 pounds with a single 76 millimeter turbo on leaf springs. We went a 458. Most people can't go, you know, struggle to go 450s with a Pro Mod 98. You know what I mean? And it's like we went that fast with a single 76. And that just goes to show you that chipping away at your combo, you know, it's like, you look for a couple numbers here, a couple numbers here, a couple numbers here, and you just keep chipping away at it, and you just keep testing, and you keep making laps, and you just keep looking for every single number. And by the end of the year, this is one season. You know, at the beginning of the season, the car, the best it had been was a 494, same trim, same combo, and by the end of the year, we went a 458.
It just kept. We changed. I mean, we changed so much stuff just over and over, like just trying to find it. You know, I remember that the day it went 458. We were at Indy. It was the last NMC. We raced the whole season of NMCA, which we actually were filming a TV show, which that probably nothing
never do anything.
It didn't ever do anything, but they filmed the whole season of it. So we traveled everywhere with a TV crew. That's why we raced in MCA, and it was really fun.
It was fun.
No matter if anything happens with that or not, which I don't think it's going to. It was a really interesting experience. Like we should probably do a whole podcast just talking about that because it was wild.
Yeah.
But anyway, that race there, like I remember texting Heath before we went up, and I said, "Hey man, if you feel the Earth rotate a different way, it's because of this tune-up we just put in this thing."
Yeah. Well, we knew that the car had 50s in it. We had been by the middle of the season, we really had the car figured out, and like in St. Louis, we went like a 63 or 62.
Yeah.
And then like next race, we went like a 61. So we knew we were right there. We knew it had 50s in it, but it was kind of hot out, and then come to Indy, like our last qualifier, and it was like 800-foot DA. Like we finally had some decent air. And I was like, this is the pass. Like we were in the lanes and I could feel it. I'm like, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like this is the pass. I'm like, if it doesn't spin, it's going 50s. and it did. It went to 58. And man, what a great feeling. Like,
oh, that was so exciting.
Work all year long to, because back at that time, nobody had been 40s yet. So like all the front runners were going like, I think the record at the time was like a 52 or something, So like all the front runners were going 52 to 60 right in there, like, mid 50s. And we're, just a little, like a half a tenth to a tenth off the pace of like number one qualifier. And
with the motor that you put together.
Yeah, with that junk motor. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like there's a lot of things that I'm proud of, but like going that 58 in Mike's car is really high up there.
Yeah, that's honestly probably the biggest feat that we've ever done that nobody remembers.
Yeah.
But like to go that fast with so little is pretty nuts.
It was so fun. Like that's the one thing I do miss about class racing is because we always ran eighth mile, or we run eighth mile on a quarter mile track typically.
Yeah.
So me in the car, I can see the board. The guys on the starting line can see the board. And like, that's such a cool feeling to you get comfortable in a car and it's, some people may not relate to this, but like, man, I would go through the traps, do everything and instantly just look up the scoreboard. Like, I want to know how fast this thing went. I'm not even paying attention when I'm doing. Just like,
I do miss racing with the boards on.
I do too.
But it wouldn't matter as much because we're in eliminations.
We never qualify.
We never qualify. We're straight into eliminations. So in eliminations, you don't. Some
really,
people do, but I almost
I
never.
don't care what we're on.
I almost never have that thing turned to the moon. I'm tuned really conservative in eliminations because I'm going to make sure that thing goes A to B. We never beat ourselves because the car didn't go A to B. So I'm normally pretty conservative in eliminations. So like I don't, we're probably not going to go up personal best in eliminations unless the air got really good or something.
Yeah.
But normally we're not, But that was like the fun thing about like going to Georgia and qualifying is like you got Wednesday night qualifier, Thursday night qualifier, Friday night qualifier. You're like, dude, I got 3 shots at this racetrack to rotate the earth. I'm going to throw everything at it. It's qualifying. I don't care if it spins, And you're like, we're just trying to go as fast as we can go with this race car. And dude, that is so fun.
It is fun.
And I wish that is one thing that I miss that we don't get in no prep is, you don't get that shot at the racetrack to just see how fast you can go.
Well, and I do think that it almost hinders the progression of no prep a bit because like
you don't get as many passes.
You don't,
and especially if you're not a front runner and every race you go to, you're a first round duck or you never make it past second round, you only ever make 1 or 2 passes. And it's like, if you spend all your money going to that race and you don't have enough money to go or time to go test before the next race, you made 1 pass, so you're going into the next race off the trailer again.
Yeah.
So like we do that a lot. We don't have time to test. So we're like, we'll put it in the trailer. go to a race, put it back in the trailer, come back to the shop, park the trailer, and then never touch the car, hook up to the trailer, and take it straight to the next race. Like, the car never got out of the trailer just because we didn't have time to work on it. So you're like, I'll run the valves and put plugs in it when we get to the racetrack, you know? But I'm like, we didn't have time to physically get it out of the trailer and bring it in the shop.
Yeah,
Didn't happen.
And I think a lot of times people think outside looking in, like, oh, you guys own a race car shop, like, but like our car, honestly, it
lives in the trailer.
It's never top priority.
Yeah.
You know? Like right now, it's being a little because we're doing a series and we're trying to get some stuff done. But it's I never really thought about that, but that does really hinder the average person because now.
Oh, we made way more passes back when we were radial racing than we do racing no prep, because you go to the racetrack and even on a no time race, they'd still give you two time runs.
Yeah.
You know, so you'd go up there, you get 2 test hits at the track or something before eliminations, so you were guaranteed at least 3 passes. But you don't get that with no prep. It's all off the trailer.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think too, like, I would like to see more guys do both because I think there's a real benefit of putting your car on a radial and lining out the combo to see how fast you can actually go.
Oh yeah.
And because on no prep, you are even on the better no preps, you're still fighting the racetrack. Like you don't know exactly how fast that combo can go. You put it on a radial on a surface like Georgia, you're going to figure out exactly how fast that, I mean, you're going to have to change stuff, but you're going to figure out exactly how fast that thing could go.
Yeah.
So, that's why I'm excited. Like, we ran radials at Turkey Bash, and then both of us and Heath's never raced on a radial. And he was like, that was awesome. Like, so now we're all kind of excited to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's fun to go fast. And, we went like 0.2 faster than we had on radials than we had ever been on slicks. Like 5th pass on radials.
Yeah.
So it's like, gosh, it's so much faster.
Not as fun to drive.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. The radials is like on a good radial car, man. Like, and he's great at setting them up. So they leave. You don't pedal a radial car if you haven't got that news update. But you don't want to do that because once they lose a tire, they're really hard.
You're like on ice.
Yeah, it's harder to cover. You don't pedal them. So as long as everything goes good, you're kind of just going down the center of the racetrack, and it's
smooth and straight.
And then on a slick, you're just like it's just like driving our motorhome down the interstate.
Yeah,
this way. It's a whole different experience. So I don't know. I am excited to go to Lights Out if. We have some additional plans. I'm not going to talk about it yet, but if we do get the car light enough, I think we're going to try some other stuff. But
hopefully we can just get the car together by then.
Yeah,
I'll say it's only a month and a half away.
Yeah, we got a fair bit.
Not far away.
Yeah, there's a chassis cert day at Instant Karma.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I don't know if we'll be quite.
Not going to hold my breath.
Yeah, it's a lot to do in a short time to get there, but. Yeah, I guess to kind of move on from race car stuff, I really enjoyed watching you machine stuff. How do you like that?
I'm really enjoying working with all the machines. The laser was like super easy to pick up because it's really not any different than our plasma table. It's just a giant, way more precise plasma table is all it is. But it basically programs pretty much the same. So that was really easy to pick up. I will say that the laser is a lot more finicky than the plasma table. We've had some issues with that. The laser guys were actually just here yesterday and doing some service on it. So it's definitely it's cutting really good now.
It was definitely a learning curve for me because sometimes I'm just dumb and I'm like, oh, we have a laser now. We're never going to be out of parts, right?
Oh,
well, you guys, appreciate you.
You guys bought so much stuff from Black Friday that we still aren't caught up, and it is first week of January. Like literally, I cut a whole sheet of brackets, set them on the shelf, and Jake's shipping them out. Like they're out the door. Like literally as fast as I can cut stuff, it's going out the door. It's crazy.
Well, I know, and I apologize. We do try to email you if we're out of something, but a lot of times I'll email you back like, oh, hey, we're cutting them, like it's going to ship. Well, I can't believe the amount of parts that were actually in the hole, right? So like he'll cut a whole sheet of brackets and all, and
you just think in your head like, oh, that'll fulfill all the orders that are sitting in there.
Yeah, and it doesn't.
And it doesn't. Yeah. Like, we shipped all them brackets out, and Jake's like, I still need 3 more sets. And I'm like, I just cut a whole sheet.
Yeah.
I'm like, geez, oh, Pete's.
So it's definitely been, I wish, our goal was to get in this building a lot sooner, and that was a whole cluster of dealing with the county. But because that drug its feet so long, we really weren't set up well enough to going into our busy season like we really wanted to be.
Oh yeah, we wanted to have the shelves all stocked up and have a ton of inventory sitting there for you guys, but we were just so behind on getting, like we didn't even get the laser up and running till October, and then the Hoss we just got running in November, like
right in the
middle of Black Friday. We finally got the Hoss running, so it was like. We didn't get a chance to get any stock built up. So it was like as soon as Black Friday started, we were like literally like the first day of Black Friday, you guys emptied the shelves, and then we were like playing catch up from there.
Yeah.
So it was not ideal. We were hoping to have the machines up and running in like July and have 2-3 months to stockpile all these parts and have a huge stack of everything sitting on the shelf.
And the learning curve,
And it just didn't happen. No. And so we were behind from the get-go, so we apologize from that. But it's just been one thing after another with the building and getting everything
when I email people
yeah.
updates, like I never go into detail in the email. I'll just say, hey, look, sorry, we're waiting on stuff. But if I look at Jaybird out there, he's got a whole new bucket of stuff.
He's got a whole bucket of metal out of Charlie Brown. Yeah.
I'm like, man, if I actually told people what was going on, they would 100% think I'm a liar. You know what I mean? Because it's like you got this, then you got this, then you got this. You're like, yeah, they wouldn't believe that. But
yeah, you just try to keep it short, not make any excuses. But you're like, gosh, it's just one thing after another,
Yeah, but
so
we're fumbling through it. It's been a really, it's exciting to bring everything here and be able to control it more and really like. I really didn't realize how many products we actually made until you're in charge of
and
making
I thought too, you get the lasers got a 5x10 table, a 5x10 sheet of material you can fit a lot of parts on, and I'm like, oh, and the thing cuts, way faster than the plasma table ever did. You're like, this thing cuts pretty fast, got a huge table on it. You're like, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, this laser's only going to run like a couple hours a day. It might not even run every day. Holy cow, was I wrong. Like, that thing literally runs 10 hours a day, every single day. And we still can't get caught up, so.
We actually ended up buying our plasma table back. So when we moved here, we sold the plasma table to a buddy.
Yeah, because you're like, we got a laser. What do we need a plasma table? Yeah. Wrong again.
Yeah. You might think we have this awesome plan, but we don't. Yeah. We're like, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
So we bought it back.
Yeah. Well, the problem, I didn't buy it for production stuff, but the problem was like anytime Jay or Todd are working on a car and they need like one little custom tab to mount a water pump or this or that or catch can, whatever. They're like, I need a tab with a 3/8 hole, 2 inches long. I need some oddball tab or oddball bracket. We used to cut all that stuff on the plasma table. Well, we sold our plasma table, but the problem is if I'm cutting a full sheet of material and it takes 4 or 5 hours to cut that whole sheet, it's like, well, I'm not going to stop the laser in the middle of this production run that's going to take 4 hours to cut you one tab. And I'm going to have to switch material and switch back. Like, we're not doing that. Yeah. So they either have to wait or make the tab by hand. And we're like, all right, well, this doesn't work. So we literally went and bought our old plasma table back just so that Jay and Todd can use it to cut little one-off tabs for when they're working on cars and stuff. So it's going to work out way better. So that way they don't have to stop me. They don't have to bug me. They can just go over, boom, boom, cut, and go right back to what they were working on. And they got a custom tab in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, so.
No, after it started happening, you're like, why didn't we think of that?
Yeah, it's just stuff you don't think about. Yeah.
Well, like when we bought the laser table, it had an option for a shuttle table, which is like, so basically you have 2 sheets on there.
Yeah, you have a full sheet ready, and then when the parts are done cutting, the sheets switch, and then you can be cutting on this sheet while you're unloading the parts, and then you just keep doing that. So basically the laser never stops cutting. Well, we were like, we don't need that. We're not going to be cutting that many parts. And again, we were way wrong. You know what I mean? Like now I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have got that shuttle table, you know? So actually when the laser guys were here yesterday, I was like, hey, you got any of them shuttle tables that'll fit this thing? They're like, yeah, we got one. I said, send me a quote for it. I'm like, because I want it now. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's like one of the things, man, you don't know until you know. And like the manufacturing journey, I mean, I think it's been really fun. It's,
Oh, it's definitely fun. There's nothing more rewarding. I mean, it's kind of the same feeling as like when you fabricate something and you make it all by hand and then you weld it up and then you stand back and look at it and you're like, man, I built that. Like such a rewarding feeling. Well, it's the same thing, but I took it from an idea to the computer and then from the computer to the machine and then the machine made it, you know, but it's the same feeling, you know, to be able to draw it on the computer and then turn that into a real chunk of aluminum part or whatever, like so rewarding. And just like programming the machines, it's like, you know, and then watching them move and do what you told them to do is just so cool.
It's cool.
And it's
You wish you could program people like that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's why I keep threatening Stevie where I'm going to replace him with a robot.
We'll name him Stevie.
Say, you better work faster. So, I'll replace you. Yeah, Stevie.
Stevie turned into a Tesla.
Funny enough, I watched a thing about Tesla robots today.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but Haas sells you can buy the robot arm that loads and unloads the machine. I looked them up. They're like 40 or 50 grand. I'm like, buy one, it's paid off in a year.
Yeah, less than really.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. It's, the manufacturing stuff's been cool. And like, you know, I think the more that we can divide we do have cars that we work on. They're not, it's not like we're not openly taking work. Okay, please don't take it like that. But we have long-term customers that we've had for a long time that we still work on their stuff. So
More like we can't get rid of them.
yeah. Pevlar's definitely like that. Yeah, it's and we appreciate it, man, because like now it's the cars that we get to work on, they're in the winner's circle, right? There's stuff that's they're guys that are chasing the championships. They're people that are out there racing a lot, and they do a lot for us in that regard, right? But yeah, it's kind of nice to divide the two sides, like the side that we're sitting on now, where Ricky's office here is like it's all machines, all shipping. There's no cars in here at all.
No.
It's a whole different vibe. And then you walk into the other side of the building.
Yeah, this is manufacturing and shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we go to the other side, we got cars and stuff. And,
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that transition. And I almost like that the two buildings are kind of different. Like the one, this side's got the nice floor, the other side doesn't. I don't know. I like it. It's one of the things we did well that I didn't, that we didn't really mean to. It just worked out well.
Yeah.
But
no, it worked out good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think once we got to get all the parts that we already had in the catalog running smoothly, making them, and then you guys have started to see new parts from us. Like
yeah, I mean, we're still doing that. Like just for the first time on our laser, cut some chromoly brackets that I hadn't cut yet, just like yesterday. So I was like, I can't believe we had gone this long already without needing, like we had enough sitting on the shelf. We finally ran out of them that I was like, oh, I haven't cut this part yet.
Yeah.
So, I got to go in and I got to program it and nest it and then go over to the laser and load it into the laser and, load the material and cut it, make sure it's cutting okay, make adjustments if needed. And then, once I'm happy with how it cuts, then I can save all those settings for next time, So, but the first time you cut something, you're like, it's a little bit of trial and error.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, now I got a book of like every single part that we cut and all my settings for it and the laser and everything, so that next time I got to cut it, I just open to that page and cut and just let it go.
If me and Ricky were in charge of the laser, it wouldn't be like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have Post-it notes.
No, I got a pretty good system going. But yeah, we got to be really, really close to now that all of our old stock has got to be pretty much all gone, and like pretty much 100% of it. I would say 95% of everything on the shelf is been made in-house.
Yeah.
I'll say we got to be really close to all the old stock gone.
Yeah,
So,
the only thing I think I did an emergency order of ribbon strips just because we were having some issues with the laser. But really that's it, I think, is that little bit. I mean, I think everything else is what we've cut here.
yeah.
And so we'll probably, on the new part size stuff, you'll probably see us get to like March or so when, then we'll try to work on some new products. I think I'm going to go ahead and talk about the rear end thing, because if you watch this, you'll have a first little inkling of it. We are going to do a rear end giveaway. It's going to be the first one that we ever. Well, we did kind of one with Charlie's. Yeah.
It wasn't one of our housings, though.
Yeah,
It was
just something that came out of Charlie. And congrats to that guy. He was such a good dude that won that. What we're going to do is it's going to be a rear end housing of your choice. So it will be mild steel. You can get a 4-link, a stock suspension, meaning a Mustang or a G body. It will be custom built for you. So,
or leaf springs.
Or leaf springs. Yeah, that I always forget about the leaf spring guys.
Yeah.
They're difficult. And then it will have strange 40 spawn axles, an Ultra third member, and their new Evolution brakes. So you will get to build the ultimate rear end package. The way that you're going to win that is you'll just buy apparel off the website. So we'll give you more parameters when it's closer to time. But we got some new swag that's going to come out along with that. All the apparel for this will be a pre-order deal. We'll have some of it, I think, here, but primarily it's going to be pre-order. So if you order a shirt, just don't expect it tomorrow. It'll probably be a few week lead time to get the shirts and stuff when we start that. And that's going to start at the beginning of February. So just keep an eye out for a post. Ricky's going to make sure that however I say it, it's all correct. It's all organized well. And you guys know exactly what you need to do to get in to win it. So we're really excited about that. It's going to be cool. So, and it's roughly going to be a month-long contest. So you have a month to get entered in. And then, we'll build it exactly the way that you want it.
But yeah, it's going to be a complete housing and then ready to bolt in your car. So, like he said, whatever width you want, whatever bolt pattern you want, whatever gear you want for you.
Yeah.
So,
because I know, man, like, we do this stuff every day, and like, dude, the rear end housing on a car, that's a really big investment, especially when you're talking a 9-inch with a aluminum third member and 40 spawn axles. I mean, that's roughly, dude, that's $6,000-$7,000 worth of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a big chunk. So hopefully we can help somebody get that much closer on their build, and if you're close enough, you'll get to come get it, or we'll work that out. We'll of course we'll ship it to you, but if you want to kind of have a day with the Soldier Boys, we can kind of do that too. So, but yeah, we're excited about that. And then obviously again, back to kind of making some new products. He's got a bunch of stuff rattling around his brain that.
Yeah, I got lots of ideas. I just need more time. Hopefully, as build season slows down a little bit coming into spring and we get all caught up on everything on the shelf, then I'll be able to transition to focus more on new products. So
Yeah. And then we need to do more R&D and bring some more model cars in, and because we want to have some more easier products for people, not that aren't as hard to put on. So
yeah.
But you got anything else?
I don't think so.
Rick?
So we kind of bounced all over the place.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. As long as Rick's good, that's all that really matters.
Rick's got birthday cake candle in here.
Nah, dude, that's
Zebra cake.
zebra cake.
All I know is it smells good in here.
So this would be your first podcast you guys get to see for 24. I'm excited about the next one. The next one will be Stephen Little, which he came during PRI and talked to us. It's a great episode. So you get to start with Brad and I, and then we're going to go to that one, and then we'll have more lined up for you. We actually I have some tentative guests for the rest of the month, which they're all fantastic. Really good stuff. So as always, we appreciate you watching. If you don't mind, like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. And whatever you want to hear more about Brad, just drop them in the comments. See ya.
See you guys.